Good evening, Professor. As I was thinking about it, I was like, did I turn everything in? I'm not sure if I turned in my analysis of Crip Camp. So I rewatched it. Crip Camp to me is such a beautiful portrayal of genuineness, openness, radical thinking, not being scared of uncomfortable situations. Camp Crip depicts a camp in the beginning, a camp that later on follows activists that were working for basically changes in legislation in accessibility to buildings and later on accessibility to the workforce and look for more equality and equity as far as the spectrum in the 1960s and 70s. Um, and the foundation that they laid down and the activism that they showed, displayed, created an actual movement and created a buzz and forced the hands of political parties. I found it inspiring, to tell you the truth. The thing I really liked about Crip Camp was the aspects of things that we do now, safe spaces. The kids in Crip Camp were talking about the family dynamics, having to get to know each other on the first day, understanding that even though their parents loved them and wanted the best for them, they were stereotyping them and limiting them by their disability, not looking at them as people, but really looking at their disability first, then the individual. Um, the biggest aspect of it was learning their perspective that they're no different than any other rambunctious teenagers or preteens. Their hormones are running crazy. They were hooking up, girlfriend, boyfriends. There was actually this one person that said that they had messed around with their counselor, which happens. It's I'm not condoning it. It's just kids having experiences in camp that are relatively normal, although they live with a disability. Um, I found it amazing that some of the African American counselors that were in Crip Camp discussed not having to be cautious or mindful of being disrespectful or making eye contact with white people. Because during those times, if you were African American, you had to be very mindful of how you even interacted in the city space, in a space with European white men, which is radical to me. My mentality is to treat everyone the same as equal. And back then, you really had to protect yourself. I get it as far as law enforcement. I get that's how I get around law enforcement. Really respectful, very tactical when I speak to them. It's a survival skill, as they said in the show. But it opened up a lot of conversations with me and my girlfriend that I was watching about social dynamics, how they've changed, but how Crip Camp was really pushing towards something that we already kind of have, which is the openness and freedom to express ourselves in our ideals, to ask for the bare minimum, which is to be seen as an individual for the content of my character, but not for the color of my skin. Shout out MLK. That's on Monday. I can't believe I pulled that one. Sorry. Um, and Another aspect of it was the protest itself, having the protesters spend the night in the location and then having a group of them go down to DC to express, to be the voice, and people holding out and the amount of support that they got and the willingness to put themselves in danger because of their physical disabilities and showing that they were willing to I don't willing to die for it, for their cause, to starve, to not have access to resources that they desperately needed. That was dynamic and like I said earlier, inspiring. Um, it followed the activists and it showed kind of that these people led interesting, full lives, and they had hurdles all throughout their lives, and how they battled those hurdles, how they created avenues and evolved and adapted, and how basically they're the most creative people I've ever met or I've ever seen. And it was a survival aspect. They had to be creative, and it just shows the what's it called, the resiliency of people living with a disability. Okay, Professor, I think that's 5 minutes. Thank you so much. I just wanted to, I don't know if I sent it to you, but I'm sending you this. This is my review of Crip Camp. Thank you.